Yep. Yep. Anytime government officials start talking about health, oh, it's for the safety of people and health, be scared. Cause that's when they up to some bullshit. Anytime, anytime throughout history they start talking about health or this is what's good for the people on a health wise thing, nah, I'm out. That history shows us every time they start talking about shit like that, it's not good for any citizens because they will use that under the guise of, oh, we are trying to protect people and we are trying to keep people healthy and restrict your rights and fucking do shit like this. Yeah, when they start talking about health and the government start talking about that shit, that's why when they start talking about that COVID shit and the health, I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. And they wasn't even following the fucking research. They was fucking lying on the CDC. If you look at the fucking numbers, it always said you had basically a 99% chance of living. You know what I'm saying? 99% chance of living. Now, if he had some underlying health conditions, like he was overweight, had respiratory issues, this is a little bit different. But if you didn't, you had a 99% chance of living. That's why when they start talking about that health shit, nah, I'm out, bro. I'm out. I don't fuck around with that bullshit. What's poppin', YouTube? We back with some more reaction videos, you dig? Today we reacted to all the stuff that's going over there in China. I don't know if y'all know what's going on, but yeah, the Chinese people, they protesting, you know what I'm saying? They protesting because China COVID numbers is going back up. So they put them on lockdown. When I say lockdown, they put them on lockdown. Where the government is actually locking people in buildings, and the police is out enforcing it. Like nah, they got some serious lockdown going on. And China act like they had the pandemic under control when they didn't. And America took followed China what China said about the pandemic. And you know what I'm saying? Look how that turned out. All the shit they were saying, lockdown, vaccine, blah, blah, blah. That shit didn't even work like that. But hey, we ain't gonna waste no more time. We're gonna get right to this video.
Have erupted in Beijing, in Shanghai, in Wuhan, in Guangzhou, and other Chinese cities over China's strict zero COVID policies. The protests were triggered by a deadly fire Thursday at an apartment building in Urumqi, the capital of the far western province, Xinjiang. There are reports that local COVID-19...
You know what one of my problems is about stuff like this? That when it comes to celebrities, they don't ever talk about shit like this. They don't ever give a fuck about they don't say shit about China. You know what I'm saying? They'll say something like LeBron when he's talking about Daryl Morey hurting people's pockets.
We all talk about this freedom of speech. Yes, we all do have freedom of speech, but at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others. You only think about yourself. So I don't believe I don't want to get into a word or sentence feud with Daryl Morey. But I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke. And so many people could have been harmed, not only financially, but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and we say and what we do, even though, yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too.
因為我哋已經冇晒退路，我哋太多嘅妥協啦，所以更加要俾佢哋睇到香港人嘅決心。
The people of Hong Kong are out in the streets.
呢個遊行對香港嘅未來可以話係歷史性嘅一刻咯，係香港。
Hundreds of thousands are demonstrating against a deeply unpopular bill.
呢個會影響全香港嘅市民。
因為呢條條例對香港嘅傷害係非常之大嘅。
But this is about a whole lot more than a bill. It's about the status of Hong Kong and the power China has over it. It's a fight to preserve the freedoms people have here, and it all started with a murder.
Man, shut your bitch ass up, nigga. That nigga LeBron a sellout. Y'all gonna act like he not a sellout. Listen to the shit he been saying lately. That nigga's a sellout, bro. I ain't gonna act like he not, cause he is, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't respect that nigga. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody say something against China and it affect their pockets, oh no, you can't say that, man. Fuck out of here, man.
Protocols prevented firefighters from reaching residents trapped in the burning building, resulting in the
That's crazy. The lockdown is so bad that the fire department can't even get to the building. That's crazy because of the lockdown protocols. That's insane to me.
deaths of at least 10 people, including children. On Friday, crowds took to the streets in Urumqi. Protests then spread to other large cities and campuses, including Tsinghua University in Beijing, where China...
And China not like America. They got a dictatorship over there, dictator communist. You know what I'm saying? So whatever the government said they got to do, they basically got to do it because they don't really have no rights like that.
Chinese leader Xi Jinping studied. Many of the protesters held up blank pieces of white paper. One man in Beijing told Reuters the white paper represents everything we want to say but cannot say. Protesters say police in Shanghai have begun detaining people who took part in the demonstrations.
That's crazy. That's crazy. They arresting them people. They protesting. Some of y'all gonna say, "Oh, well, they was arresting people for the George Floyd shit." No. The George Floyd shit. No. That's different. These motherfuckers look like these motherfuckers peacefully protesting. They don't look like they not talking about they tearing up shit. Now I might be wrong as I keep watching this video, but you niggas was out there tearing shit up. You know what I'm saying? That's different from motherfucker protesting and not tearing shit up. And another thing, y'all gonna be like, well, them businesses, blah, blah, blah. These niggas was fucking up small businesses. Talking about insurance. Nah, fuck that. That's a small business. I don't give a fuck about the big business, but when y'all was fucking with the small businesses, that shit wasn't cool.
In Shanghai, a lot of people have already been detained, not only last night. They did it for everybody, for all the people, for the delivery guys not to be locked in their apartments, for everybody to be able to receive medicines and food. We need to help these people, free those people in Shanghai.
On Sunday, police in Shanghai arrested BBC reporter Ed Lawrence while he was covering a protest.
See?
He was held.
That's what I'm saying. It's different. They arresting reporters. What the reporter doing was just reporting, because the Communist Party in China don't want nobody talking about that shit. That's why they arrested him.
For hours, the BBC says he was beaten and kicked by police officers. The protests in China mark an unprecedented challenge to Xi Jinping's zero-COVID policies, which has resulted in extended strict lockdowns across China. Last week, hundreds of workers at the world's largest iPhone factory clashed with Chinese police over COVID restrictions, which have forced many workers to live at the Foxconn factory.
That's crazy.
Videos posted on social media.
They trying to make them people live at work. That's crazy to see the government is forcing people to live at their job. That don't even make sense for real.
Show workers being tear gassed and beaten outside the plant. Earlier today, China announced it would ease some COVID restrictions, but affirmed its zero COVID strategy. The protests come as COVID cases are at a record high in China. There were just over 40,000.
Never mind, people was kind of violent, but I mean, hey, they is fighting for their freedom, you know what I'm saying? They got the people locked down, like strict lockdowns. You see they got a zero COVID policy. Like, we ain't, I don't know if that's true, but we ain't coming off lockdown till don't nobody got COVID. That, I'm not saying, I think that's what's going on, but I don't know for sure. I can't say 100%.
New infections reported Sunday, a new single-day high. Throughout the pandemic, China has reported far fewer COVID cases and deaths than the United States and other nations. The United States is currently recording an average of 42,000 cases a day. Since the start of the pandemic, the U.S. has recorded nearly 1.1 million COVID deaths. China's official.
That's crazy. That's how you know China was lying. If they got less deaths than everybody else, why they locking people down? You know what I'm saying? Especially zero tolerance policy, that don't make sense. If y'all got less deaths than everybody else, why y'all locking people down like that?
Official COVID death toll is just over 5,000. Last week, China recorded its first COVID death in 6 months. To talk more about the protests in China, we're joined by
that's
Eli
just what
Friedman.
they saying.
He's an associate professor and chair of international and comparative labor at Cornell University. He's the author of The Urbanization of People, The Politics of Development, Labor Markets, and Schooling in the Chinese City. He's also co-editor of the new book, The China Question, Toward Left Perspectives. His recent article for the Asian Labor Review is titled Foxconn's Great Escape. Professor Friedman, thanks so much for being with us. Let's start off by talking about this uprising over the last few days in Beijing, in the financial capital Shanghai, in Urumqi and other places, the significance of this.
Well, thanks for having me, Amy. This is unbelievably significant for a number of reasons. It is the largest protest movement that Xi Jinping has faced in the 10 years since he came to power. There was a protest that was probably larger in scale in 2012, just before he came to power, which was an anti-Japanese protest over some disputed islands. But we haven't seen anything like this. And there's a couple of things that are really significant about it. The first is that it's nationwide. So as we've just heard, these protests are appearing in cities across the country, from the far west to the more populous East Coast. And that's extremely unusual in China. We see localized, small-scale protests, but this nationwide scale is really unprecedented. The other thing that I think is really important and maybe of greater concern to the authorities is the fact that it has incorporated a really diverse group of people. We see a cross-class alliance. You've mentioned the workers in Foxconn, and then we have the students at Tsinghua, at the most elite university, students also at Peking University. We see middle-class people in Shanghai. It's also a cross-ethnic movement, and I think that hasn't necessarily been fully appreciated. The fact that this is a response to a fire that happened in Urumqi is incredibly important, given the background of repression, surveillance, mass incarceration that has happened to Muslim minorities there, and so this is really one of the first.
Yeah, they don't say LeBron nigga ain't said nothing about the weaker Muslims. Got the nerve to say something about Daryl Morey. Nigga, shut your ass up, nigga. I'm gonna find that clip and put that clip. Watch, y'all gonna see what I'm talking about. He wanna say, oh, my pockets. Nigga, fuck your pockets, nigga. When is enough money enough, nigga? When is enough money enough to where you be like, you know what, I don't need that money. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? But nah, about your money, huh? All right, I understand.
Time that we've seen this kind of cross-ethnic form of mobilization. And so for all of these reasons, it does present a really big challenge.
So, yes, you're talking about the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. Then the belief, whether it is true or not, that the firefighters, now video has come out on social media of the fire trucks trying to get to that building where the fire was. But for people to understand how strict this COVID crackdown has been, I've been talking to people who have family in China, talking about throughout the level of people not being able to move. One 80-year-old man in a city that is not thought of as a crackdown city has had 100 tests in a month. If you
damn, 100 COVID tests in a month? That's fucking crazy. That's more days in a month. How many fucking COVID? What the fuck? 100 COVID tests in 1 month? That's fucking out of control, bruh. Let me see how many COVID tests that is a day. Let's say it's a 31 month. 31 day month. Let's see. 100 divided by 31. Nigga, that's 3. Nigga, that's 3 COVID tests a day. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, that's not as many as I thought it was, but get the fuck out of here, nigga. 3 COVID tests a day. Fuck, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here, bruh. Who the fuck thinks somebody got COVID that much? The fuck?
When the subway, your card will detect if they'll see where you were. And so if someone 4 cars down, it comes down positive with COVID, you'll all be locked down in wherever you live.
How does that make sense? Somebody's 4 cars away and they got COVID. I gotta have nobody on lockdown too. That's that bullshit. That's that bullshit, bro. That's that bullshit.
Talk about what the
How does
protesters
that
are
make
saying.
sense? They're in a totally separate car from me. They're 4 cars away, and then fuck 4 cars away. They are in a totally different car. I'm not even around that person. How the fuck I gotta be locked down? That China bullshit. Fuck that, nigga. Fuck that.
Very sarcastic and say things like more
I don't wanna go to China
crackdown,
ever.
more tests.
I'm out.
I think it's really difficult for people outside of China to understand the intensity of the lockdowns. For those of us in the United States, when we think of the period of quote unquote lockdown back in the spring of 2020, they were never rigorously enforced. Most people were still able to leave their house. China now for 3 years has seen a level of lockdown that is simply inconceivable in some cases, with apartment buildings being locked. Some people have reported their own personal apartment doors being chained shut, so they actually cannot.
That's crazy. They'll go to your apartment and chain your apartment door shut? What the That's crazy.
Leave, so it's really a kind of house arrest. One of the other things that's really significant, and we can get into the underlying causes of this, but I think that we should also think of this as a movement against surveillance. Over the last 3 years, the state has unrolled a really encompassing and extremely invasive surveillance system through the system of health codes. And so, as you were just suggesting.
Yep. Anytime government officials start talking about health, it's for the safety of people and health, be scared. Because that's when they're up to some bullshit. Anytime, throughout history, they start talking about health, or this is what's good for the people on a health-wise thing, nah, I'm out. That history shows us every time they start talking about shit like that, it's not good for any citizens, because they will use that under the guise of, we are trying to protect people and we are trying to keep people healthy and restrict your rights and fucking do shit like this. Yeah, when they start talking about health and the government start talking about that shit, that's why when they start talking about that COVID shit and the health, I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. And they wasn't even following the fucking research. They was fucking lying on the CDC. If you look at the fucking numbers, it always said you had basically a 99% chance of living. You know what I'm saying? 99% chance of living. Now, if you had some underlying health conditions, like you was overweight, had respiratory issues, this is a little bit different. But if you didn't, you had a 99% chance of living. That's why when they start talking about that health shit, nah, I'm out, bro. I'm out. I don't fuck around with that bullshit.
If you were a close contact, or even a secondary contact of someone who later tested positive, then your health code turns red. If your health code turns red, then you're not allowed to leave your house until you have a series of negative tests. This, of course, can be extremely disruptive to people's lives. So the way that it intervenes in people's lives, the way that it disrupts basic sort of social patterns, the way that it disrupts livelihoods, and this is particularly a problem for working class people, for informal workers who need to be out and about in the city and who aren't just white collar workers who can, hop on a Zoom call and do their job from home. It's had really significant effects for people. And just again, imagine that this has gone on for 3 years.
Hey, that's the end of the video. That shit going on in China, some bullshit. I'm just saying it now, that's some bullshit. But hey, hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about the shit going on in China. Let me know if y'all think LeBron's a sellout. But hey, hit that like button, comment, subscribe. We out. Peace.